In games 1 and 2, everything went the way of the Oakland A's. The green and gold made all the plays and got all the big hits. Last night, the Bronx Bombers asserted their power. New York's big bats and bullpen headlined a Game 3 win. Today, the A's can clinch a series victory and a winning homestand. Game 4, A's-Yankees, next. It is the homestand finale today at the O.Co Coliseum. With a win, the A's can take the series, and they will face that man, young right-hander Adam Warren. Billy Burns, boy, what a great job he has been doing for the Athletics, and the A's will send Jesse Chavez to the mound, the ultimate hard luck pitcher right now. It's the fourth and final game of the series. It's the Yankees, and it's the A's coming up on Comcast Sportsnet, California. Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to Oakland A's Baseball, along with Ray Fosse. I'm Glenn Kuiper. Yankees come in third in the American League in runs scored, and they do that with power, Ray. What they have is some veteran guys that are still very good hitters that take advantage of a mistake. And you think about Yankee Stadium, the short porch in right field, they always try to sign left-handed power hitters. How about what Brian McCann has done? Came over from the Braves. He's hit a couple of home runs in this series. Of course, he can hit home runs any place, but especially Yankee Stadium. And here down the line, which really helped him. But I thought the one last night, Carlos Beltran, switch hitter. And when you elevate pitchers to power hitters, this is what happens. Beltran hit a two-run home run to right center field. But there is a reason that if you're a free agent and you're a left-handed hitter, the Yankees are going to be trying to sign you because of their home park where they play 81 games. Last start for Jesse Chavez was kind of a so-it-goes for Jesse moment. He goes 8 innings. Gives up an unearned run, loses 1-0, and the guy just cannot get any run support. That run was in the first inning on a caught stealing to second base, actually in the center field, but Jesse Chavez, he's pitched well against the Yankees. I think that's a positive for him today because he continues to pitch well. He works quickly. He has great pitches. He pitches deep in the ball game. Just score him some runs, you have a chance, because when he has been on the mound, that has been almost a zero. And he will be opposed by the young right-hander, Adam Warren. So Warren and Chavez is the pitching matchup for the fourth and final game of this series, and the A's looking for a win, and they're looking for Brett Lawrie to stay hot. He's got a couple of home runs in this series. When we come back to the Coliseum, we'll have lineups, and first pitch, it's the A's and the Yankees on a Sunday afternoon in Oakland.
Box. Try the new legendary Buttery Jack from Jack in the Box today. By Toyota, #1 in MPG, durability, and resale value. Toyota, let's go places. And by DraftKings.com. Play daily fantasy baseball for free on DraftKings.com with the official daily fantasy partner of Major League Baseball. Enter promo code SLIDER for free entry.
Sunday afternoon at the Coliseum, and that means one thing. That means the Little Leaguers take the field with the big leaguers. It's one of our favorite things about Sunday. It always puts a smile on the youngster's face, and you know what? It put a smile on the big leaguer's face, too, just a little bit. Here's our game time weather for today. It's presented by the Santa Cruz Beach Boardwalk. Get to the beach. The admission-free boardwalk is now open daily. Very nice day. Still a little bit cool, but 61 degrees. And the cloud cover is starting to wear off, so we're going to have some sunshine this afternoon here at the Coliseum. Another nice crowd. And a win today, the A's would take the series 3-1. So that is what sits ahead for the Athletics. Here's the lineup today for the New York Yankees. Brett Gardner will lead off in center. Chase Headley, a switch hitter. He'll hit second and play third base. Alex Rodriguez is the DH again today. Mark Teixeira is at first. Carlos Beltran in right, and Ramon Flores, who made his Major League debut last night, starts again. He's in left field. John Ryan Murphy will catch. Didi Gregorius is the shortstop, and Jose Perella is the second baseman.
Jesse Chavez trying to do something that, well, he'd like to receive something, I guess, be better put, because that is some run support. Jesse Chavez has pitched great. Look at his numbers. 244 earned run average, but just one win. That came at Target Field against the Twins. Pitched into the 8th inning of that game. He will pitch deep. He'll throw a lot of quality pitches, and he will work quickly.
Defensive lead behind Jesse. Zobrist in left today. Burns in center. Reddick in right. Laurie, Simeon, Sogard, and Muncy around the infield third to first. Stephen Vogt is again behind the plate. So Jesse Chavez is ready, and so are we for the fourth and final game of the series and the final game of the homestand. So Gardner steps in, and here is the first pitch of the ball game, and it's a little bit low. Gardner, Headley, and Rodriguez, the top three hitters in the Yankees lineup. Yankees won last night 5-3. Jesse Chavez in there first strike. 2.44 ERA for the A's right-hander. With just the one win. That win was back on May 5th in Minnesota. Pitched into the 8th inning against the Twins. Everybody says the same thing. We answer questions from, in this case, people that cover the Yankees, and they're like, yeah, this guy's pretty good, right? It's like, yeah, he is, unfortunately.
Well, there have been a lot of people around baseball, and they start looking, and of course, unfortunately, the A's are where they are in the standings. They start looking at players that might help them, and Jesse Chavez's name always comes up because of his ability. I mean, his versatility is unbelievable. We talked about it at the beginning of the season. He started the bullpen because he was versatile in that respect. Stepped to the rotation when injuries occurred, so he could do that quite successfully.
2-2 pitch to Gardner is slapped toward left center. Burns got a good jump, and he tracks it down, 1 out. Well, speaking of that last start, here's our Ford right choice. It was Tuesday night. Jesse Chavez, 8 innings, no earned runs, and he lost 1-0. Still hard to believe, and Ray, that run came in the very first inning.
Yeah, Josh Fegley, a quick throw to second base, ball went to center field, and that run scored. And that was it. Fegley ended up throwing out 3 runners that night. But the first one perhaps could have, but really didn't have much of a chance all night, but still was very successful. But that one unearned run, and that was it. So that's why his ERA continues to be very low, but the win total is not.
Well, that was a frustrating game because the A's actually played one of their better defensive games of the year. They made numerous nice plays, and as you said, Fegley threw out 3 runners, but it ends up A's lose on an unearned run. I guess that's so it goes for the A's when they do play good defense. It still costs them, which is a bit hard to figure out. But
that was after Jesse Hahn pitched a shutout on Monday against the same Tigers, and so really they've scored in those first 2 games just 1 unearned run, but they ended up winning one.
3-1 pitch, and that's a line drive, base hit right field for Chase Headley. So 1 out single. Here's today's cold hard facts brought to you by Coors. And as we're talking about the run support for Jesse Chavez, lowest run support average in the major leagues. Well, he's in the game 1.05 runs per game. So keep that in mind when you talk about run support for a starting pitcher. It's the runs scored while he is in the game. Yeah. So if he comes out of the game, let's say he came out in the 7th inning and the A's scored some runs late, that does not go onto his run support statistic. So 1.05. Can you believe that?
Well, especially the second one, Odorizzi is almost a full run more.
That's right.
And he pitched today for Tampa Bay.
So 1-0 to Alex Rodriguez. 2-0 to Alex Rodriguez. He's 3 for 11 in this series. He's scored a run. He's knocked in a run. The RBI came on a sacrifice fly. His next RBI will move him past Barry Bonds for second on the all-time RBI list in Major League Baseball. He has 1,996 RBIs. Mark Teixeira will be next. And there's a line drive toward left, and that's a base hit. So Headley and Rodriguez with 1 out singles here in the first inning.
Jesse Chavez trying to throw the sinker down and in to get a ground ball to the left side. Turn 2, ball stayed up and about thigh high, and not a lot of movement on the pitch, and that's the reason Alex Rodriguez hit the ball as hard as he did left field. So 3-1 fastball, 2-1 fastball. So bottom line, so far Jesse Chavez falling behind some pretty impressive hitters.
And now Teixeira steps in. 239 the average for Teixeira with 14 home runs and 35 RBI. Just a bit low, but a close pitch. A good slugging percentage for Teixeira. He's got 9 doubles to go with his 14 home runs. Low again, 2-0.
Jesse Hahn last night struggled in the first inning. Gave up a run, but pitcher sometimes trying to get through the biggest inning. That's the first one without a lot of damage.
And now it's 3-0 to Teixeira. Teixeira had Friday night's game off. Carlos Beltran sitting in the on-deck circle. Interesting, both Teixeira and Beltran have the exact same amount of career home runs, 377.
This will be a swing on 3-0. Wow, shot. Because I've seen him, he's a dangerous hitter. He knows how to hit 3-0. So maybe Jesse made a very good pitch, even though it was a hittable, very hittable pitch. Favorable count for the hitter.
That's interesting what you say. He knows how to hit 3-0. Some guys don't.
No, they don't. Some guys will swing out of their shoes and swing at anything and everything instead of looking for a pitch. And it's a circle change up that Jesse likes to throw.
So 3-2. Headley and Rodriguez take their leads. 1 out. And a swing and a miss. Jesse Chavez comes back from 3-0 to strike out the dangerous Teixeira.
Watch Mark Teixeira open up, look at the location of the pitch. He opens up with the hips, and Jesse Chavez nailed the outside corner, and that is a great pitch. And Mark Teixeira gets paid a lot of money to do one thing, drive in runs but hit home runs, and that pitch perfectly thrown by Jesse to the outside part of the plate that he could not reach it.
Exmo brought to you by Cache Creek Casino Resort. So here's Beltran, who takes the first pitch strike.
The cap, I think, too, and we have seen Jesse pitch so well. You'd have to wonder if every time he takes the mound, he tries to pitch a shutout, knowing the run support is not there, which means that it's a pretty tough lineup, and trying to get through, navigate through this tough lineup without giving up a run.
Beltran in this series 3 for 12. And now 2-1. Four home runs on the year. Got 21 RBIs. And we got Jesse Hahn last night. That one hit hard but foul down the right field line.
You know, it's that pitch and the one he hit last night elevated, and that's where Carlos Beltran, typically left-handers are good low ball hitters, but I think he is different in a sense where he can handle the high pitch. He's proven to be able to do that. You're always concerned about the low fastball. He's just a very good hitter. He's had a lot of experience, both American and National League.
And that one's bounced towards second. Sogard backs up a step. He's got it side retired. So a couple of runners stranded for the Yankees. Bottom of the first coming up. Starts with that young man. Billy Burns in the leadoff spot. Then Zobrist, who's going to play left field today. Butler, Reddick, Laurie, Muncy, Simeon, and Sogard round out the ace lineup.
And we talked about the rotation of the New York Yankees. This young man started 3 games prior to this season. After that, he's been in the rotation. 10 starts for him this year. His 10th coming up, that is. He's made 9. So he's been in the rotation, but limited more out of the bullpen. He has faced the A's out of the pen, but good fastball, low 90s, in addition to curveball, slider, and changeup. So he knows how to pitch. Usually he's around the plate as well.
That one bounced over the head of Headley, and a base hit into left field. Flores picks it up near the line, gets it back in quickly, and Billy Burns on the first pitch chops one right over the head of Headley. Headley's had enough of Billy Burns, I think.
I think we need to establish a new statistic for Billy Burns. How many pitches has he seen in a first at bat of a game? 1 per game. And that's about it. I mean, about a high chopper. Headley playing off the line. This one hit hard in front of the plate. He had no chance to reach it.
Well, I can give you this number, Ray. Not completely what you're asking for, but it's in the ballpark. He is now 12 for 23. When putting the first pitch in play.
It's pretty good.
There you go.
Over 500. That's very, very good.
So now Warren facing Zobrist. Warren, another one of those guys, much like Nate Eovaldi, who just does not allow stolen bases. So he must have a pretty good move. He is not allowed to steal this year. In fact, he hasn't allowed one since going back to May of last year. Teixeira with a nice play, flips to Warren and gets the out at first. Teixeira took a look at second, but got the sure out at first. So a nice play. If he doesn't make that play, it's first and third.
Yeah, and unfortunately just not hit far enough to his right and hit hard enough to get past Teixeira. And really, we talk so much about first baseman and how it usually is a power position, which he has that, but he can also play defense at first base, and you win 5 Gold Gloves. That's because of his defense, not necessarily because of the great offensive numbers he's put up.
So here's Vogt, chance for an RBI, 322, 10 homers, 35 RBIs for Vogt. Vogt 9th in the league in batting average, tied for 5th in RBIs. 2nd in on-base percentage, 3rd in slugging. He's all over the place on the leaderboard. He's also 8th in the league in walks. Tied for 12th in home runs. Count 1-1 to Vogt.
I think the best thing about Stephen Vogt is his ability to play first and catch, but also the fact he uses the whole field. They're kind of somewhat of a shift, but he uses the whole field, and he's not up there trying to hit home runs. If he gets a mistake, he can hit the ball deep enough for it to leave the yard. But I think if you're trying to set up a game plan against him, it's very difficult because outfield straight up, playing normal depth, infield with second baseman on the outfield grass. That's just because he rolls over on one. Better range for Morella.
Burns bluffs going, and that's a swing and a miss by Vogt. And immediately when I saw that, Rain, I think you know what I'm going to say. That has to be disruptive to the hitter. It has to be.
Yeah. And Stephen Vogt's going to try to concentrate on the pitch, but when you are looking at the pitcher and you see the runner at second base take off like he is going to run, and you're thinking, well, should I take it and let him steal?
And it's not like, you know, if he's at first base where you may see him out of the corner. You are looking right at the runner and you see him take off, and how could you not at least be distracted just for a split second?
Well, and the distraction is as much trying to recognize the pitch. Now watch Billy Burns at the top or the bottom screen. He takes off like he's running, and again, Stephen Vogt knows as a catcher, hitters will talk about that when he's behind the plate, and same thing as a hitter, because you can't help but see that, and if you just take your eye off the ball momentarily, it's on you so quickly anyway.
This one's hit high in the air, shallow right center. Gardner is under it, and Burns goes back to tag, but stays at second base, so out number 2. Let's take a quick look at the Yankees defense for today. Ramon Flores, who made a nice play and a nice throw last night. He's in left field. Gardner in center, Beltran in right, and it's Headley, Gregorius on the left side. Morella and Teixeira on the right side. Ryan Murphy is the catcher, so Ryan McCann getting the night off, or the day off. That's just fine with the A's because McCann is one of the hottest hitters in the American League. So I guess, you know, the old day game after a night game, I can see that.
But it's game 51.
Be in there. Very hot. You play the Yankees right now and you see McCann's name not on the lineup, you're a happy guy. Billy Butler, 261, 4 homers, 26 RBIs. Butler is 2 for 9 in the series. He's got 3 RBIs. Chance for another one here.
You know, I think in some sense managers really enjoyed when Cal Ripken Jr. was on the team that they managed, because as it got to be a certain point, they never wanted to be the manager to end a streak. And they didn't have to worry about asking if he wanted a day off, because you knew he never would want one off.
No, there's really no decision to even be made.
And from a player standpoint, to know that you're in the lineup every day, you can feel comfortable. I mean, as hard as it's to say to be comfortable going 0 for 4, but you could say, I want to be in there tomorrow. And if I go 0 for 4 today, I don't have to worry about not seeing my name in the lineup. Some guys are in that position. They put a lot of pressure on themselves to try to do well because they might not be in the lineup the next day if they don't get a hit.
2-2 now to Butler, with Reddick hoping to get a chance to hit in this inning. Outfield again slid well around to right center with the left fielder playing in left center. That is something to see. That's amazing. That one is lined toward Gardner, and Gardner's right there, side retired. Butler hit it right on the nose, but Gardner's there, and the A's strand a runner. No score after one.
Section 120. Items include game used or signed baseballs, jerseys, bats, bases, and more. You can also shop online at athletics.com/game used. Portions on the proceeds benefit the Oakland A's Community Fund. See Big Dominic down there with the bright red shirt on, authenticating.
Big Dom.
Oh, he's doing it all. He's got the red shirt, so that's Victory Sunday. I think that's what they call it in golf. When the golfer wears a red golf shirt on Sunday, that means he's going in the...
So Dom is like, this is like Victory Sunday for Dom?
That's Victory Sunday right there.
Pride of South San Francisco?
That's right.
Did you know that Dom went to high school with Joe McCarthy, our stage manager up here?
Really? He actually went to high school?
Who, Joe or Dom?
Yeah, Joe.
Oh, yeah. Joe was at the top of his class.
Wow.
He and Dom hanging out at South City. There's Joe. All right. There.
Yeah, make sure you point him out.
And that one's grounded into left field, and that's the first major league hit for Ramon Flores. So he gives a little clap of the hands. And the Yankees will take care of the baseball.
Batting in the 7th position, the catcher.
So congratulations. The first big league hit for Ramon Flores. Gets a little golf clap.
Tony Pena, the first base coach. I thought maybe he had handed it to him, let him put it in his back pocket. Just make sure he actually preserved it. But a base hit opposite field, and it's good news for him, bad news for the A's. It's a leadoff base hit as teammates cheer him.
Quick throw to first. Here's John Ryan Murphy, who is doing the catching today. Yankees come in 26-24, and they are holding a one-game lead over Tampa Bay in the East. Right at 500 on the road, 14-14, and they will head to Seattle after today's game. They will take on the Mariners Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, 3-game series. Yankees are 13-15 in the month of May. Of course, this is the final day. So we have to decide who wants, what players and teams want the calendar to turn. We know the A's want the calendar to turn, get off May and get into June. A's are 10-19 in May.
But they have about 13 consecutive winning months, and now they haven't had one in the last 3 or 4.
We don't want anything to do with a 20-loss month.
No.
Twins have the best May record. The Twins 19-7.
You know, they might not want Urban Santana to come back.
No, Urban, you know what? You stay away.
I mean, really, this season started. Wait a minute, we just signed this guy for a long-term contract, and he's suspended for half a year. But
hasn't seemed to slow him down.
No, it has not.
Swing and a miss. The Rangers 18-11 in May. Astros 16-12. Angels 15-13, and the Mariners 14-13. So all the teams except for the Athletics in the AL West have had decent months.
Let's just assume the A's bad part of the season is over.
That's right.
First 2 months, and that's a great strikeout pitch from Jesse Chavez again, outside corner. Struck out Teixeira in the first inning on a 3-2. This one, look at this tailing action coming back towards the outside part of the plate. Mike Polinares, the home plate umpire, noticing the outside corner and ringing him up. First pitch was a strike, and ring him up on the same one.
So strikeout number 2 for Jesse Chavez, and here's Didi Gregorius, who takes the first pitch strike. Gregorius hitting .211, couple of home runs, 11 RBIs. Inside.
After one of the bottom part of the batting order, if Joe Girardi would try to have some action, it looked like Flores actually was getting a pretty decent lead off first, and he might be running when Murphy was up, but Jesse sent him back. Certain lineups, you'd just like to see him turn it over again. It's pretty top heavy for the Yankees. And nothing against the bottom part, because they're in a major league uniform and a major league team. You never discount anything that they can do.
Inside again. 2-1 to Didi Gregorius. A lot of pitches for Jesse Chavez. 36 already with 1 out here in the second inning. He's gone over 100 pitches in his last 2 starts, 105 and 106. And that one's lined toward left center field. Zobrist is able to cut it off, gets it in quickly. So Gregorius has a single, so 4 hits now for the Yankees.
Get outside and up. And well, how many times we say it, how many times we see it, where the pitch is elevated and hitters are able to do exactly what Gregorius did.
It's a good swing.
Yeah, it is. And Jesse usually pitches down in the strike zone, as he did striking out Murphy, and perfect pitches to Teixeira in the first inning.
So here's Jose Perella. Perella, big swing and a miss. He looked like Gary Sheffield swinging there, didn't he?
Wrap it and let it go.
Just let it rip.
Well, that's it. The leg kick. Except Sheff would take the bat and point it towards the pitcher and then wrap it back and hit line drives. It's scary.
Perella 7 hits in 33 at bats so far this year. He's got 1 double. So 1-1 the count. Flores at second, Gregorius at first. Plenty of speed on the bases for the Yankees, with the top of the order Gardner in the on-deck circle. Outfield shifted toward right center. Sogard trying to keep Flores close at second base. And the pitch is down and away, 2-1. At least in the early going, and it is still just the second inning. It doesn't look like Jesse Chavez is quite as sharp as he's been the last couple of starts.
And even his pace is a little bit slower.
Exactly. Yep. He's usually a quick worker.
Well, he got out of the first inning, and as he's walking in the dugout, hit himself in the top of the head with his hand, just kind of indicating what's going on, what am I doing, and trying to figure it out. And Jesse can do it quite well. Kurt Young, A's pitching coach, is very adept at watching a pitcher and realizing what he might be doing incorrectly. But Jesse also can monitor himself, figure it out. See, guys on the bench, and they're constantly watching a pitcher just to see if they can see something.
Line drive to Sogard, who throws to first. Got him. A double off Gregorius at first base, and a nice play by Sogard, and some fancy footwork from Max Muncy over at first. Top of the second. Bad base running here.
Oh, very bad, because where is he going? Gregorius with a line drive. Automatically, you're supposed to be going back to the base, not going forward. And Eric Sogard had to wait for Muncy to get back to bag, then threw over the head first slide. And that few steps taken by Gregorius was just enough to double him off. And Hickox at first base making the call, and a very, very nice double play.
Reddick, Laurie, and Muncy here in the bottom of the second inning. Reddick hitting .305, 7 home runs, and 31 runs batted in. He's 3 for 11 in this series. Good swing there.
One thing about Reddick, and we have seen it, it's been impressive watching him, kind of a very controlled swing. Nothing really trying to do too much, not trying to drive the ball and hit home runs. It's if they happen, they happen. He's at 7 on the season, using the whole field, very disciplined at the plate. And I think that's just maturity, getting to the point where you're playing consistently, and every year get a little bit better, start realizing what pitchers are trying to do to get you out.
3-1 pitch in for a strike. Warren took a little off, kind of eased it in there, so full count. That looks familiar.
David Renetti?
That's not David Renetti. Well, it was, but
that's who you're talking about,
David
right?
David Renetti does not shoot a 3 like that guy does. That's Clay Thompson, who's coming out to check out the A's this afternoon. Hope he's feeling better. a shot to the right ear in that final game against the Rockets.
I guess he's got some pretty good seats. He just keeps walking down towards the dugout. Might as well just go in the dugout.
Walking. 5 rows back of the A's dugout. So
he's got his bodyguard with him.
With the finals starting on Thursday, Klay Thompson says, I'm just going to relax for a while. But you know what? He's not going to sit there without being noticed very long. He does have a concussion, so they're kind of hoping that he will be able to play on Thursday. Hey, sit 5 rows back Sunday afternoon at the Coliseum. That'll make you feel better.
Well, I'm disappointed our good friend Jim Barnett hasn't made an appearance up here.
All of a sudden, he's too good for us.
Yeah,
right?
how about
NBA
that?
Finals and Reddick with the walk. Klay Thompson had one of the greatest moments. Well, it was the greatest quarter in NBA history, but I watched this and I've never seen anything like it, Ray. He scored 37 points in 1 quarter. And that is an NBA record for most points in a quarter. It was January 23rd against the Kings. 37 in a quarter. My goodness.
You can sit anywhere you want if you can do that.
It's unbelievable.
Matter of fact, just go down to the dugout.
He did not miss a single shot. He made all 13 of his field goals. 9 of them were 3-pointers. And it was in 1 quarter. For the season, over 21 points per game.
Well, you think about the great Wilt Chamberlain scoring 100 in a game and how phenomenal that was. And he did 37 in 1 quarter.
Yeah.
It's a third of that in 1 quarter. Wilt was about 7'10".
He was a bit taller.
Just step up and drop the ball in the bucket.
So Laurie, the hitter, sitting on a 2-0 count.
And so, yes, by the way, Mr. Barnett, wherever you might be, we're very disappointed. Big leaguers.
Happy. They're not happy with JB. But he knows we love him. He knows we know he loves baseball. He's a good baseball fan. The 2-1 now to Lord. But you know, it's funny, Ray, we're talking about Klay Thompson. Remember we did the spring training game, you and I, and it was the A's and the White Sox.
Yeah.
Early March. And late in that game, switches were made. You know, the minor league kids came in for the White Sox, and one of the youngsters that came in the game that we were televising was Trace Thompson. And that's Klay Thompson's brother. Exactly. He was in the minor leagues with the Chicago White Sox. He's currently in AAA Charlotte, and he played in that game that we televised, and he actually got a base hit, knocked in a run, and there he is.
And who actually is a friend of A's Marcus Semien.
That's right.
Because they were the White Sox organization, and I know Marcus is, of course, is a great big Warriors fan as well, but he was talking about Trace, and so nachos on a Sunday afternoon at the old ballpark.
Trace Thompson, the younger brother of Klay Thompson. So he's playing in AAA, so you could see him in the big leagues.
I give Klay a lot of credit to walk down, sit down there. He could have pulled some strings and had David Rene take him back in diamond level, back behind home plate. You know, but he's a fan. He's right down amongst all the A's fans, and I'm sure cheering as loudly as everybody.
Muncy bounces one foul. So the Warriors and the Cavs on Thursday night, right next door at Oracle Arena. Game 1 of the NBA Finals.
40 years. That sounds pretty good. 75, Rick Barry last time.
So game 1 will be Thursday. Game 2 Sunday. Both those games at Oracle. And then to Cleveland for games 3 and 4. 0-1 pitch. Muncy. It's a little pop-up toward Klay Thompson.
I still think one of the most grueling sports, if not the most grueling, would be the NBA, the basketball. The way they have to run up and down the floor, back and forth, and the minutes they play. And I guess the timing, because you look at the time in between postseason and even regular season games, but maybe they need the time to regroup after running up and down the court as much as they do.
And I think if you watched any of the playoff games, obviously the Warriors, but all of them. I mean, it's a much more physical game than I think people think. Well, I mean, they're banging each other like the whole game.
Well, look at the size of LeBron. I mean, just him alone, just.
Klay Thompson's probably. I don't want to think about LeBron right now.
No, I know that. I don't either. But I'm just thinking about size and how much they have to fight each other, and it's almost like the NFL players playing basketball. They're so big. But Bertans last night watching him. You know, he's playing baseball at 6'8".
1-2 to Muncy. And a line drive to center field, and that's a base hit.
Young man's got a good swing, and it's always good to see him wait. Who is that guy? Gosh. See, shade the beard, it looked like they're 20. But backdoor breaking ball, stayed on it, right back up the middle. And so Max Muncy keeps the head down, follows through, and so he will go left center, right center. Got to put the beard back on. It looks too much like Chris Townsend.
That's a good one. I never put that together, but it does look a little bit like Uncle Townie. Chris Townsend from 95.7 The Game. Give Townie a lot of credit. So it's not easy talking to fans after a game, especially after a loss. They're disappointed. They're frustrated. He's got to talk him down off the ledge.
And himself down off the ledge. Because he gets up there himself.
He does a terrific job.
Yes, he does. Yes, he does. It's a lot of positive energy, and he's a fan. I mean, he wants the A's to win as much as anybody.
That's not an easy job when your team is struggling like the A's have.
Marcus Semion's gone from second in the batting order down to 8th in today's. That's with Ben Zobrist coming back and playing the outfield. So Bob Melvin getting his versatile infielder outfielder Ben Zobrist back, switch hitter. Played him at second, now in left field today. So Marcus Semien drops down, and let's repeat that putting a lineup out is not just putting names down. It's all a matter of where you want to position guys based on who's pitching and different part of the batting order.
0-1 pitch is bounced to Gregorius, who charges, handles a tough hop, and the Yankees get the out at second base. But if Gregorius doesn't hustle in and really charge that ball, then he gets the in-between hop, and it becomes a much tougher play.
And that's why you see infielders do that. Those who step back and try to get a different hop, the top spin usually creates a huge problem for him. But Gregorius just making sure of one. That's what Pirelli did at second base as well, with a hard slide by Max Muncy. And of course, any video probably showed Max Muncy going into Altuve after getting his first major league hit. The Astros were in town. Not afraid to go in hard to second.
So runners at the corners for Sogard. Chance for the A's to grab a lead. First pitch is a strike on the outside corner. Sogard 263 with 11 RBIs. Lifts this one in the air. And it's going to be Gardner who steps in front of Flores. Side retired. A's strand a pair, so we are scoreless after 2 between the A's and the Yankees. team can collaborate at a whole new level with video walls from Prism. Learn how at prism.com. No score between the A's and the Yankees. It's the top of the third. And the Yankees will have the top of their order. Yankees got 4 hits off Jesse Chavez, but they have not been able to get in the run column. A couple of strikeouts for Chavez. First pitch to Gardner is a strike. Gardner hit a fly ball to center field to open up the ball game, and it's a quick 0-2.
Jesse Chavez is very well aware of the pitch count, and he knows that he's much better than throwing 40 pitches in the first 2, making 42. So he's trying to minimize now so he can stay deeper into the game, save the bullpen.
Headley to follow, and then Rodriguez here in the third. Gardner slaps one to center. Burns coming in, and Burns will make the catch. So 1 out here in the top of the third. Chase Headley had a single in the first inning.
Number 12, Chase Headley.
So the A's will fly tomorrow to Detroit to open up the road trip. 3 in Detroit, 3 in Boston, and then back home.
See what the Tigers are doing tonight. They're playing a night game.
Staying overnight, man?
I don't know, but they are playing a night game. Or, of course, if that's the network, that's at least a 5:20 start or 5:15 California time, which helps them. But they'll be traveling back east for the 3-hour time change.
That could be it. I mean, that's got early morning arrival written all over. 1-1 pitch to Headley, slapped foul. And the Tigers and the Angels tonight for the A's. 3 in Detroit, 3 in Boston. Back home with a off day on Monday. Home for the Rangers for 3, and then back out on the road. Strike 3 called with a fastball on the outside corner. And Headley knew it.
Well, now the outside corner, just like he did to Mark Teixeira, only that was a 3-2. This was the 1-2, and difference in the count, 3-1. Headley sharply singled to right field in his first at bat, 1 and 2. Chavez nailed the outside corner, and that's a perfect pitch. That is the Jesse Chavez pitching.
So 2 outs for Alex Rodriguez. And good spot there right on the outside corner. That game that we're talking about, Tigers-Angels, it'll be Price for Detroit, Shoemaker for the Angels, and the Angels are going for a 4-game sweep of Detroit. Just into the seats.
You don't often see 4-game sweeps. No, it's just, I mean, 3 is special, but 4, improbable. But Angels will try. They're playing very good baseball.
Good game to watch tonight.
And I just thought it was interesting that teams back in the Midwest and East, or the East Coast basically, with the Tigers, the Yankees, all those teams, that they don't like to play all 3 teams on the West Coast. And I said, why is it? Typically they don't have a lot of success on the West Coast.
That's probably true. So Rodriguez strikes out. A couple of strikeouts for Jesse Chavez in the third.
your group will receive an A's replica batting practice pullover. For more information on available games or to book your group jersey day outing, call 510-638-GO-A's or visit athletics.com/jersey. It's such a great looking pullover. You could wear it any day of the season.
Be a good day today to have it on, where it's nice but not necessarily a warm day. Burns, Zobrist, and Vogt here in the bottom of the third. Burns swings at the first pitch, gets jammed that time, and just rolls it slowly to Teixeira, and that's the first out. So 1 pitch, 1 out, and now Zobrist will hit. The Mariners and the Indians are scoreless in the 4th inning up in Seattle. That's the final of a 4-game series. Indians have won 2 of the first 3. It's Salazar for Cleveland, Happ for Seattle. And as we mentioned earlier, the Mariners will be hosting these Yankees starting tomorrow.
Yeah, Robinson Cano, welcome.
That's right. Good call.
Cano, former Yankee and now second baseman for the Seattle Mariners.
The Angels will stay home after that night game tonight. They will host the Rays Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. So it's all right if you're playing that Sunday night game if you don't have to leave. You got a home game on Monday. It's no big deal.
And the Rays are flying across the country. They're in Baltimore today as they are in the 9th inning. Tampa leading Baltimore in the 9th at Camden Yards.
Zobrist, a big chopper. And he is retired, 2 outs. The 9th season of the CSN All-Star Teacher Program is upon us, recognizing teachers who make a difference. Visit csncalifornia.com and vote. The winner receives $20,000 for his or her school. So 2 outs here in the 3rd. And Stephen Vogt will hit. Vogt is way outside from Adam Warren. Vogt hit a fly ball to center field in the 1st inning. Stephen Vogt, no batting gloves. Forget those batting gloves. See, Prince Fielder decided to try no batting gloves. Right. On the ground, Perella charges, and that's a 3-up, 3-down inning for Adam Warren. So both pitchers settling in, no score after 3. of the bullpen in a marathon game against the Yankees, and when the A's needed everybody that day, and Jesse Chavez was one of the heroes.
Came in at inning number 13 and left in inning number 18. And that kind of put Jesse Chavez on the map when it came to the Oakland A's, because he was dropping the hammer, the curveball, and it was our good friend Nate Fryman who shattered his bat with a walk-off hit against Mariano Rivera. That's a career hit for the Chavez against the Yankees at 3-0. But that game probably, I think, let everybody know that Jesse Chavez was for real.
Yep.
Because when he joined the club from Toronto, he was in mop-up games, you know, whether blowouts one way or the other, and then all of a sudden he stepped in that game, and talk about needed pitcher. He's wearing the number 60 at that time because Chili Davis was wearing 30. Chili is now with Boston, and Jesse is donning the number 30, which he wore and had worn prior to joining the Athletics.
2-1 now to Teixeira. Teixeira, Beltran, and Flores here in the top of the fourth. No score. No walks, 4 strikeouts for Jesse Chavez so far in the game. And that one's lined toward Reddick, and Reddick has to play it out high. So leadoff single for Teixeira. Here's Beltran, and he is our T-Mobile game changer going back to last night. The big 2-run homer, that was huge. And then a big insurance run late with an RBI single. So the veteran Carlos Beltran, he is still a very good hitter. And he's found that out last night. Beltran now 37 years old. Actually, he's now 38 years old. He turned 38 at the end of April. In his 17th year in the big leagues. Remember when he arrived at the big leagues back in 1998 with the Royals? Boy, he was a star in the making, wasn't he? He had all the tools. He was fast.
That 05 season, though, probably did wonders for him. He seemed like everything he touched went in the seats.
Two and one now to Beltran. And with the Royals, the Astros, the Mets. 44 games with the Giants in 2011. Then a couple years in St. Louis where he had real good years there. Sogard ranging far to his right, and he's get the out at second. Cannot get Beltran at first.
A good play by Eric Sogard up the middle. Flipped the ball kind of overhand softly to Semien and tried to turn 2, could not. But Brett Lawrie over talking to Semien now and gave him a little glove tap. He had a nice play. Almost turned 2, but made a good throw on the return to first base.
So that'll bring up Flores. Flores had his first major league hit in the second inning. Lifted toward the line. Zobrist to long run. Zobrist makes a nice running catch. A long ways to go, and a low backhander, which is never an easy play.
Boy, he did have a long way to go. And remember, he's coming off knee surgery and playing in the outfield. He'd been playing second. And got a very good jump, and that's what he is very good at, getting jumps and kind of anticipating where a ball is going to be hit. Fair ball all the way, so it was important for him to get to it, make the play, and might have been extra bases with his momentum carrying him into foul territory.
So with 2 outs, the catcher John Ryan Murphy steps up. Murphy struck out looking in the second inning. Beltran, short lead at first. And again outside, so 2-0 to count. That's a pretty good pair. I'd bat one in the leadoff spot. I'd bat the other one in the cleanup spot, and whoever I got in the other 7 spots, it'd be all right.
I'm disappointed, though. They're side by side retired numbers, but Ricky had been showing up. The A's, remember, he played for the Yankees as well as Mr. Reggie Jackson. So they're both probably down in diamond level and watching this game.
It'd be fun to hear that conversation.
A lot of power, a lot of speed. World championships.
Pitch, high fastball, swing and a miss, struck him out. 5 strikeouts for Jesse Chavez. So bottom of the 4th coming up, no score.
p.m. to be the second fireworks show of the season. You can watch the show from the outfield grass. As we know, Clay Wood will make sure the outfield and on-field capacity is limited. So get here early, get your tickets, get out on the field if you decide to do that for the great fireworks show that will be on Friday, June the 19th after the A's and the Angels. Tickets are available at athletics.com/fireworks.
Billy Butler swings at the first pitch, hits one foul to Shera. Makes a good effort, cannot quite get it. Butler, Reddick, and Laurie for the A's here in the bottom of the 4th inning, no score. A's have 2 hits in the game. Yankees have 5. There has not been an error.
Appreciate the cloud cover. It makes it very nice. Don't have to worry about sunshine. See the ball much better.
Butler hit a line drive to the center fielder to end the first inning. It came with a runner at second base. Talk a bunch about Adam Warren. Butler has to get out of the way. Adam Warren, you mentioned it. Pretty important part of the Yankees bullpen the last couple years, but now in the rotation, drafted by the Yankees in 2009, 4th round. Pitched at the University of North Carolina. The Gregorius under the glove and into left field.
I still say when infielders do not want to leave their feet, it's because they think if they can catch the ball, Billy Butler is not fleet of foot. So Gregorius comes up with the ball, probably has a chance to throw him out with his strong arm. If he leaves his feet, probably catches the ball, maybe does not get up in enough time. So it reaches down just under his glove. So Billy Butler, the hard hit ball, shoots it into left field. Kid's got a strong arm, so if he puts it in his glove in his hand, he's still whip it across the diamond.
Here's Reddick, a shot to Teixeira, who tags out Butler, double play.
Well, we saw Gregorius get off and be doubled off. This is, though, impossible. Take just a couple of steps and right to Teixeira, reaches back and gets Billy Butler 3 unassisted double play. And Josh Reddick's got to be saying, if he's not at first base, that's a double. Because he's hooking that down the line, but instead it's caught by Teixeira, and that quickly, a double play. Did not hit it any harder.
So here's Laurie. Laurie hit a fly ball to right field in the second inning. He went around, tried to hold up on a high fastball at 92 miles an hour. So the count 1-1. Laurie in this series is 4 for 13. Right there, 1-2. Good pitch by Adam Moore.
Well, Billy Butler with a line drive and put the hand of his don't hit me, and he was not going to get back anyway. He actually was not getting a big lead, just a couple of courtesy steps off first base, and that's how hard it was hit. Nice play by Teixeira.
No, he really did nothing wrong.
No, he was actually going back to bag, which he should on a line drive, but it was hit so hard he had no chance to get back. So now we can call first base the hot corner.
Yes, indeed.
Especially when you're holding a base runner, because that was super hot.
Slider foul back. .55 pitches for Adam Warren. Two pitches, a fastball inside. You know, Warren, well, pitching at the University of North Carolina, was a teammate of Matt Harvey's for 2 years. That's not a bad college 1-2 punch. Adam Warren and Matt Harvey. North Carolina, that's a baseball factory there. So full count to Brett Laurie. And a high slider, he swings and misses. That's the first strikeout for Warren. So the A's do not score, and we're through 4, 0-0. Warehouse. Pitchers duel, no score after 4. So top of the 5th inning, Gregorius, Perella, and Gardner against Jesse Chavez, who's doing his thing again. 5 strikeouts. He has not walked anybody. The first pitch is a changeup outside.
The last couple of innings, had his pitch count down. First 2 innings looked like he's trying to establish himself, figure out which pitches would work and location.
First pitch strikes, 9 for 17 today. Gregorius got a pitch up and out over the plate, fouled it back to the screen. Astros lost today. They were shut out by the White Sox 6-0. John Danks with a complete game shutout. He beat Hernandez. LaRoche with a home run.
But Danks is kind of like a look-alike Keuchel.
A little bit,
you know, similar style pitching. Keuchel having a great season.
Unbelievable. He could start the All-Star game if you had to choose somebody right now. It wouldn't be all that crazy. There's a shot, right field corner with foul. So the Astros, with the loss, the Astros will stay home. They will host the Baltimore Orioles 4-game series starting tomorrow. Well, the weather's been bad down in Houston. So everybody's okay down there, but boy, lots of rain.
Yeah. Just close the roof.
Yeah. Driven toward left center, but Burns is over there and he grabs it. So 1 out here in the top of the 5th. If you're looking for the best coverage of Oakland A's baseball, we got it for you. Log on to csncalifornia.com as our A's insider Joe Stiglich provides wire-to-wire reporting of the A's 2015 season. He's got breaking news, video, special features, and more. It's only on csncalifornia.com.
Joe always has that smile on his face, doesn't he?
Joe's a happy guy, and he should be.
Oh, he is an insider. He's getting so much inside information. Got that smile saying, I know something you don't know.
That's exactly right.
He's good.
I say, Joe, what's going on? He said, I know, but I can't tell you because I'm an insider. But come on, Joe. We're all in the same family. Swing and a miss by Perella. So 1-2 the count. Perella lined into a double play in his first at bat. Fastball, 91 miles an hour, but outside. Indians and the Mariners still scoreless in the 5th. As we are here at the Coliseum. A little flare to right. That's going to be a 1-out hit. So a speedy runner is aboard in Perella.
Just off the end of the bat, Jesse Chavez staying away from him, and also lined up hard to Sogard caught first time up and double off Gregorius.
Gardner.
So top of the order in Gardner, and Gardner can do a lot of different things, including he's a good bunter. Very fast. And Laurie is even with the bag. Chase Headley is the on-deck hitter. Middle infielder sitting right at double play depth. Gardner has hit a couple of fly balls to center field today. He's 4 for 15 in the series. He's in that leadoff spot. Normally it would be Jacoby Ellsbury, but Ellsbury out with a bit of a knee injury. Saw Masahiro Tanaka throwing in the bullpen today.
Yep.
Looks like he's going to start Wednesday, is what I had read.
That's what they're talking about. Wednesday would be the day. And the Japanese media following the Yankees and Tanaka all wondering and thinking the same thing.
Quick throw to first. So the Yankees will be glad to get Tanaka back. Scott Kazmir for the A's. His scheduled day to start is tomorrow. So it looks like the A's are just going to skip him.
Yeah.
And he would, hopefully, if he feels well and the shoulder's okay, probably pitch next weekend in Boston.
Yeah, the plan was kind of to take advantage of the off day, miss him completely, and then put him in the back end. So I guess keep everybody on turn starting Tuesday. With Kazmir start being there. Looked like just figuring out Jesse Hahn would pitch on Friday against the Red Sox. He pitched yesterday.
There's Coco Crisp getting an epidural. I guess that's scheduled for tomorrow now. So Coco's going to be out for a while. Experiencing that pain in the neck. And sounds like he's going to have no baseball activities for a month and then see how he feels. Sogard backhands, glove flip, Semien double play. Nicely done by the Athletics. Very smooth Sogard to Semien. So another double play for the A's. They're second in the ball game, and we're going to the bottom of the fifth. No score.
Softball season. Fields at Hayward High School and San Lorenzo Little League Complex were refurbished as part of the Energize Your Field program presented by PG&E. To nominate your field, go to athletics.com/energize your field.
Bottom of the fifth inning, no score between the A's and the Yankees. Jesse Chavez and Adam Warren both sharp today. Warren has just one strikeout. He's walked one. He's not a real big strikeout guy. He's kind of working in and out.
Changes speeds very nicely. He does have a plus fastball that he can use, but bottom line, it's changing speeds effectively and using all of his pitches regardless of the count.
And that one's hit to right field. Beltran's going back. Warning track, and he's got room and makes the catch.
Well, the double play, remember in Houston when Eric Sogard attempted to do the same thing, backhand flip with just the gloves. Semien missed the ball, turned out to be an error. But this time, this is the familiarity. Maybe because it's already happened once. And Semien expecting the flip with the glove, the ball, and handled it perfectly to turn a 4-6-3 double play. And Eric Sogard really, earlier he flipped the ball with his right hand, but this time used just the glove. But think that's just part of getting familiar with guys around you. And we're starting to see a little bit better up the middle with Sogard and Simeon.
0-1 to Simeon, the shortstop. He's 4 for 14 in the series. Reached on a fielder's choice in the second inning. So Simeon sliding down to the 8th spot today. Hit high in the air to center. Gardner backs up. Looking up into the sunshine, and he grabs it. 2 outs.
Okay, we talked about turning the calendar. There is a lady who's going to be 100 tomorrow.
Turn the calendar.
Alvina Quintel. It's Quintel. She is a huge A's fan. She will be 100 years young tomorrow, June the 1st. So, Alvina, if you're watching, happy birthday early. So a lot of players wanted to turn the calendar, and I'm sure the Centurion will be turning the calendar tomorrow for Alvina. So happy birthday. Hope your A's have a big win today, and you can celebrate your birthday on the off day tomorrow while the A's are traveling to Motor City.
See, generally, as you get older, you probably don't want the birthdays to come so fast. But when you get to 100,
oh yeah,
I mean that's
can't wait. I mean, that's got to be a huge party.
Sogard rolls it foul down the first base line, so Warren ahead in the count, 0-2.
About 13 years we'll be saying about Vin Scully as he gets ready to broadcast another Dodgers game.
Yes, he will. He'll be rolling along. Maybe not traveling to the East Coast, but that's all right. Strike 3 called on the inside corner. Second strikeout for Adam Warren, so he's pitching well. So is Jesse Chavez. We're scoreless.
Years. Watch every out-of-market game live or on demand in True HD on over 400 mobile and connected devices. Real-time highlights, live look-ins, pitch tracking widget, and more. Blackout and other restrictions apply. Visit MLB.tv for details.
Beautiful day at the O.co Coliseum and a pitcher's duel, no score, 6th inning. As this game heads into the later innings. That one's belted toward Burns in left center. Burns tracks it down. So that's out number 1.
Kid's getting some great jumps in him. And it's fun to be up here and watch the play develop. As look at Jesse Chavez and Adam Warren. They're pitching today, and both have been outstanding. Jesse has not walked the batter.
Well, this game has the feel of one of those, Ray, where a mistake could make the difference.
Well, Jesse's not going to come in the 13th in this game like he did back in June of 13.
Unless he's Warren Spahn or Juan Marichal, who went 16 innings against the Giants.
This ball bounced up. Check the mass of Stephen Vogt as it bounced up. And like maybe deflected mass shoulder, got a whole bunch of Stephen Vogt.
Pitch to Alex Rodriguez. Big bouncer. Simeon charges. Throws in time. 2 outs. Seven of the last 8 retired by Jesse Chavez.
Number 25, Mark Teixeira.
Take his time. That's an important thing. He got a very good jump on the ball. He's very athletic. Marcus Simeon has great range and just starting to come together for him.
So with 2 outs, Teixeira steps in. Teixeira on the ground. Sogard on the grass, and he throws him out, and that's a 6-pitch inning for Jesse Chavez. Bottom of the 6th coming up. Burns, Zobrist, and Vogt to hit. No score. Last year, Derek Jeter's final game here in Oakland, he had a booming double. So again, that was his final appearance here at the Coliseum. He had some great moments. Just a great play in the postseason. Finished his career number 6 on the all-time hit list, 3,465.
Most memorable 3,000th hit, the home run Yankee State.
That's right.
Yeah. Was a 5-for-5 day. Capped by a home run.
And then, didn't he have a walk-off hit his final home game at Yankee Stadium?
Oh, yeah.
Which base you almost weren't even surprised.
Yeah. That was the base hit to right field.
That's right.
Against the Orioles. Sadly, though, for both Mariano Rivera and Derek Jeter, the years they retired, they didn't go to postseason. Right. Spent all those years. I think Jeter, for about 18 consecutive seasons, was playing in October, didn't know what happened, what to do in October when they didn't make it.
Yep, the Yankees have missed the postseason the last 2 years, which is hard to believe. I think the last time they did that, they went a 3-year stretch, 92, 93, 94. Of course, 94, nobody made it, but so that does not sit well in Yankee. So you don't make the playoffs, and then you don't do it for 2 years in a row. Last year they were 84 and 78. 12 games behind the first place Orioles and 4 games behind the 2 wild card teams, the A's and the Royals. Burns flips one into right center for a hit. So Billy Burns has got 2 more hits. Man, he just keeps on doing it. He's now 8 for 17 in this series.
Well, it is amazing how when you look out and you see how shallow everybody's playing, the infield playing in, the outfield playing shallow. And granted, yes, he's hit a couple of home runs. He did it the same week, Sunday and Thursday. But bottom line, he's the speed. And you talked about a mistake earlier. How about just creating some havoc, some magic, whatever, by the base stealing or at least running ability? Let's get a little bit extra lead from first base, especially Warren, who has a very good move.
Warren, a quick throw. So you see the move by Warren. We mentioned it earlier. He's got a very good move.
And you know, if you have a pitcher who has a great move, one way to counteract that is hit and run. Put him on the move and have the hitter swing the bat.
And Burns bluffs going and pitches inside. Last time there was a stolen base against Warren, it was May 23rd of last year. Now granted, he was pitching in relief all of last year, but this is his 10th start this year. Burns runs, and the pitch is low, and no swing, and it'll be a stolen base. So Murphy never even attempted a throw. He was worried about blocking the pitch.
Look at that big lead. He's out to the cutout. He's looking back, so it must have been a hit and run. As Zobrist started, held up his swing, maybe realized the ball was in the dirt. He was not going to throw anyway, and maybe he could see the great jump by Billy Burns.
So Burns gets stolen base number 8, and now he's sitting in a nice spot. Runner at second, nobody out. And Zobrist rolls over on it. It's a fair ball, and no, foul ball. Teixeira grabbed it, but Ed Hickox, the first base umpire, said foul.
Started in fair, but watch as Teixeira catches the ball in front of the bag. It's going to dart into foul territory, and that's why it was called a foul ball. Did not reach the bag. And Teixeira caught it. It's not where it lands, it's where it's caught, and that, especially in front of the bag.
So you saw Zobrist really trying to roll over on a pitch to hit it to the right side. Burns runs. Throw to third is not in time. It bounces around over at third base. Burns makes sure he stays in the bag. So a stolen base, and now Burns is at third with nobody out.
Well, this time, what a tremendous jump. A great play by Headley to keep the ball from going into left field as Murphy threw from his knees. And Headley, a tremendous job because that ball was headed back into left field. He'd watch him reach back right there. No chance to catch it and tag. And Billy Burns with the ball stopping there. Mike Gaggo made sure he didn't take off.
And the infield comes in. A little pop up to left field. And it is caught. And Burns has to stay. So Ramon Flores ran a long way. And he made a nice play right near the foul line. So Zobrist is retired.
Well, that was a long run, and surprisingly playing shallow enough that he couldn't get to the ball. Well, he's played very aggressively in the outfield. I don't know that Dave Winfield, who wore that number before, would have been able to use those long legs to get to the ball. But Flores, first major league hit today. He's played defensively very well. Let's talk about shallow again. I guess go back on the ball. Oh, by the way, Jesse's pitching. Don't even think about it, Jesse.
So here's Vogt.
Now, Billy Burns is still home, and Jesse Chavez will have a run.
That's right. I don't think to run anyway.
I don't know that he will try.
Infield in for Vogt. Hooks that one down the right field line, but foul. pitch number 80 coming up from Adam Warren. Butler waiting in the on-deck circle. And that one is hit high in the air. Beltran going back in right field, still going back, and that baby's gone. Vogt has homered, and the A's lead 2-0. So number 11 for Vogt, and it's a big one.
That's a real big one, and that's a way to not only get the runner in from third. He was trying to hit a fly ball, and I'm sure he would say that. Ball just kept carrying. So Stephen Vogt, number 11, 37 driven in. 2 huge runs for his battery mate. And Ben Zobrist said, "Thank you for picking me up," and that's what the game's all about right there. Zobrist didn't do it. Stephen Vogt came up, similar situation. He got the job done. So Cap, just like you said, mistake. It was the speed of Billy Burns that put a little bit added pressure on the Yankees, forced them to bring the infield in, and Stephen Vogt didn't need the infield in. He got the ball deep enough and into the seats, not only for 1 but for 2.
So Butler on 3 pitches, he strikes out. 3rd strikeout for Warren.
Stephen Vogt, as they try to go inside, he lifted. He does not open and pull. He's able to lift, keep it fair, and down the line for a home run. And while you talk about daytime baseball, slight wind blowing maybe from left to right, down the line perfectly, hit in the direction. Watch out, Z-Man. Zagaris trying to take a picture of what that was happening. Can you describe that?
I can't. That's your job.
Well, there's certain things analysts can do, and that's not one of them. You know, Ricky Henderson always talked about his head first slides like landing an airplane. Brett Laurie looked like he wanted to fly one too, and I don't know if I'd get on his plane.
And Flores tracks it down, side retired, but the A's get a big hit. Stephen Vogt, a 2-run homer, his 11th home run of the year. So as we head to the 7th inning, the A's now lead 2-0.
Struggled the first couple of innings, a lot of pitches, but he settled down. Next 4, got a couple of double plays, nailing the outside corner of the fastball. Then Stephen Vogt, how about that fastball that not exactly where Warren wanted it, or maybe where he wanted it, but the fact that Stephen Vogt able to pull the hands in, get under it, and drive it, and so the battery taking care of his battery mate. And that is Stephen Vogt helping out Jesse Chavez. 2 runs already in 6 innings for Jesse. Wow. That's a bunch.
So he'll face Beltran, Flores, and Murphy here in the top of the 7th. Beltran is 0 for 2. Fouls that one back. He's grounded out and he's reached on a fielder's choice. So 3 for 14 in the series with a home run. This one could be playable for Laurie. He's into foul territory. He's got it, 1 out.
Funny, Laurie's playing with the shift in the shortstop. And a lot of times you'll see an infielder, outfielder check to see how much room they have near the wall.
Now batting number 31.
He's got 100 feet, and he's checking out to see, oh, maybe I could go a couple more steps. He's stepping foul territory. There is a bunch of territory between third. Check it out. Look, see it. Check it. Maybe he's looking for the third base coach, but plenty of room for Brett Laurie.
So 1 away. Here's Ramon Flores. Flores had a base hit in the 2nd, his first big league hit, and then a fly ball to Zobrist, who made a nice running catch in the 4th inning. Laurie playing it, has it, 2 outs.
Nothing better than a check swing, ground ball to third, and Brett Laurie did not waste any time, picked it up quickly through at first, and so a foul ball, pop foul, and a check swing ground ball.
Jesse Chavez has retired 10 of the last 11 as he faces John Ryan Murphy with 2 outs.
And you know, with the pitch count, so important for all pitchers. For Jesse Chavez, throw 6 pitches in the 6th inning and be able to come back out for the 7th. If he had thrown any larger number, it might have been questionable for him to come out, although he's still a strong young man, pitching as effectively as he did earlier. That's probably better.
Swing and a miss by Murphy, who has batted twice. He struck out twice.
Normally you make that many starts, you have more than 5 shutdown innings. He's 5 for 5. That's how few runs they've scored for him. It's a great note, though.
He probably leads the league in fewest shutdown inning opportunities. This one hit high and foul, headed for the seats. So 1-2 the count.
Jesse right now, I think, is trying to think, being greedy, maybe get through this inning quickly and then be able to go out for the 8th. Trying to take care of his own business.
And 1-2 pitch is bounced back to Jesse Chavez, who reaches up, grabs it, fires to first, side retired. So 7 in a row retired by Chavez, and the A's leading 2-0 in the 7th.
is brought to you by Toyota. Let's go places. And by Xfinity, home of the most live sports.
Bottom of the 7th inning. Jesse Chavez has been great, and he leads 2-0. Looking for some more runs from his teammates. Laurie, Muncy, and Simeon to face Adam Warren. Warren's pitched well, one mistake. Stephen Vogt with a 2-run homer in the 6th. First pitch to Laurie, slider for strike. Mariners scored 3 in the 5th. They take a 3-1 lead over the Indians in the 6th inning up in Seattle. That bends Laurie out of the way.
A breaking ball that didn't break, just kept backing up, and I think he could do the limbo.
I think you're right. That one sliced foul toward the bullpen of the Yankees. Neil Rogers, saw him a couple nights ago. Nice block by Murphy. A's bullpen is quiet. Tyler Clippard, the closer, walking from the dugout to the bullpen right now.
101 pitches for Jesse through 7. Again, a 6th pitch, 6th inning, 11. And the 7th.
And Laurie strikes out for the 2nd time. So for Warren, that's his 4th strikeout. 1 out here in the bottom of the 7th.
Like just a slight slider, maybe cutter, but Laurie with that little wrap around with the bat and the long stride could not catch up.
So with 1 away, Muncy will hit. Muncy had a base hit in the 2nd inning and a fly ball to right in the 5th. .91 pitches for Adam Warren. Takes a little off, gets a strike. He's with 5 hits in the game. The Yankees have 6. Trying to finish the month of May with a win. Get into June, as we said in our pregame show. That's our theory. Get a little momentum here at the end of May and then have a real good month of June. You know, one of those 16 or 17 win months, and then you start to get yourself a little closer to the 500. Paul Maurer thought about calling that a strike. So 3-2 to Muncy. Payoff pitch is dribble foul, off speed pitch on 3-2.
The A's started the month of May on a positive note. They beat Texas. Remember, they scored the 7 runs in the 8th inning. Won 7-5 over the Rangers. So they like to finish the month beating the Yankees and book in. Not a special month, but one that can look forward to better things in the future.
That's going to get through in the center field. Muncy has his 2nd hit. Well, I think that series you're talking about, that's the last time the A's won a series. Right. Got a chance to do it today.
Now batting shortstop, number 10.
Got to the 3-2. Did Muncy and back up the middle, and he'll hit some home runs, but he's going to do a lot of that. He's going to be patient, and he is going to be able to drive the ball wherever it is pitched.
So 6 hits now for the A's. Here's Simeon. Simeon takes a strike on the outside corner. To the shortstop, Gregorius, and that's a double play. 6-4-3 double play, and that ends the A's half of the 7th inning. 8th inning coming up. It's the A's 2 and the Yankees nothing. Clubhouse reaction from the A's-Yankees game. Also, the Giants and the Braves across the bay in complete Warriors NBA Finals coverage, hosted by Henry Wolford and Kelly Johnson. Good ball game here. A's leading 2-0 behind Jesse Chavez, and he pitches here into the 8th inning with D.D. Gregorius, the hitter. Gregorius has singled and hit a fly ball to center field. Klay Thompson has left the building. And a nice ovation. Everybody wanted a piece of Klay Thompson today.
Well, he came down the stairs wearing the cap forward so you can see the A's logo, and he leaves with it backwards so you can see the A's logo again.
It's all planned. Perino in the game. He's going to get action, and his throw is not in time. Gregorius runs well. So Andy Perino in the game. And Gregorius has a base hit.
An excellent play. We talked so much about Derek Jeter. He used to make this play jump and throw, but Perino keeping to his feet. Strong throw, just too much speed out of the left-handed batter's box by Gregorius. And at that point, it's called outrunning the baseball. It just could not get there quickly enough to make it a spectacular play.
Here's Perella.
Slap it and go. And just beating it out.
And this one popped up down the right field line, and Reddick into foul territory makes the catch. Gets it in quickly, so a nice play by Reddick.
Amazing. You think a ball hit like that, it's going to slice into the seats, but it took off and it came straight down, staying in play, so Josh Reddick could use his speed to get to the ball. Right there is where it started to shut it down, and made the play, spun, and just in case the Warriors thought about being aggressive to second base, Josh Reddick planning ahead. Speed at first, catch it, spin, and throw. But catch it first, and that's always the key, and hit it nice.
Scribner and Abad getting loose. So top of the order, and Brett Gardner steps in. Gardner 0 for 3. And a first pitch for a strike. So pitch number 107 coming up. It'll be a season high in pitches for Jesse Chavez. Gardner goes after a high fastball. Fouls it back. 0-2.
I think Jesse realizes that if another runner gets on base, brings the go-ahead run to the plate, he's not going to stay in there. And that would be a ploy by a manager to make sure that pitcher pitches as great as Chavez has would not be in the game for a possible loss. And I don't think the A's would be even thinking about that. But right now, he's pitching as well, if not better, than the first couple of innings when he threw a lot of pitches.
Right there outside corner, strike 3 called.
Best thing for Jesse Chavez right now, if he can get this out in the 8th inning after throwing this perfect pitch to the outside corner,
Number 12,
nailing
Chase
an 0-2 fastball. Gardner started, froze, strike 3 called. But the best thing for Jesse Chavez to walk off of this mound after this inning and have this 25,000 plus give him a standing ovation.
Here's Headley. Headley takes a fastball right there for a strike. Headley has singled, struck out, and hit a fly ball to center field today. And that one tapped to Muncy. Steps on the bag. Side retired. So Jesse Chavez, sensational performance, and he will get a standing ovation as he walks off the mound. So bottom of the 8th coming up. A's leading 2-0. Local Toyota dealers. 0-7-0 for the Yankees, 2-5-0 for the A's. Adam Warren was good, but just the one mistake. The 2-run homer to Stephen Vogt. Jesse Chavez, sensational. 8 innings, no walks, 6 strikeouts, a career high 110 pitches. The Vogt home run happened in the 6th inning. So bottom of the 8th, with Tyler Clippard getting loose out in the bullpen. So the new pitcher is Esmil Rogers. When it's time for a change, think Speedy Oil Change and Auto Service, your oil change, tune-up, and brake experts. So Rogers pitched on Friday night, game 2 of the series, as he faces Sogard, Burns, and Zobrist. Sogard has hit a fly ball to center field, and he has struck out. He taps this one to the right of the mound, and Rogers tags Sogard for the first out. So the 0-1 unassisted.
Now batting, center fielder.
And now the top of the order, Billy Burns. Another nice ball game for Burns. He's 2 for 3, 2 singles. He's stolen a couple bases, and he has scored a run. Clippers getting ready. Burns takes a breaking ball. So how about that, Ray? A first pitch breaking ball.
The threat.
May see more of those. Burns now hitting .321 with his 2 hits today. And this one is looped towards center. And that's going to be another hit for Burns.
And you're right, very frustrating for Gardner center field. He mentioned Henley at third, but Gardner, he said, how shallow can I play? It just does not matter. And it's just flip the ball, a third hit. So a ball past Henley at third, and then a couple of hits like this. And it was his stolen bases, second and third, the last inning, in front of Stephen Volt's 2-run home run. And we made the same try it again.
Quick throw, and Burns head first slide back in.
You mentioned about he's got Kazmir talking to Jesse Chavez. With Kazmir backed up, actually they're staying on turn. Jesse Hahn is going to pitch Thursday.
There's a base hit by Zobrist. Burns will fly around second. He'll go to third. First and third, 1 out.
That time he found the hole. Joe Girardi is going to the lefty. That's what Stephen Vogt is meaning. And big hole between first and second with the speed of Burns. And Zobrist found the hole, and that's an easy first to third for him.
So Rogers faces just 3 hitters. And he is done for the afternoon. When it's time for change, think Speedy Oil Change and Auto Service. Your oil change, tune-up, and brake experts.
Athletics and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of Athletics Investment Group, LLC.
So the A's trying to add on first and third, 1 out here in the bottom of the 8th. So Vogt will hit, and he will hit against the left-hander Jacob Lindgren. So Lindgren, first pitch to Vogt, way outside. Just the third appearance for Lindgren. He pitched on Friday night and got knocked around a little bit. Gave up 3 hits and 2 runs in 1 inning. Pinch hitter Sam Fuld.
As Kendall Graveman confirmed, they were teammates at Mississippi State and just drafted last year, 2014, and the big leagues, non-roster invitee in spring training, but made the club. So Kendall Graveman paying close attention to his former teammate at Mississippi State.
Shallow left center. It's going to be Gardner who's got it. Here comes Burns. The throw to the plate is late. Goes past everybody. Fuld's going to go to second. Burns scores, and the A's have an insurance run at 3-0. So sacrifice fly for Vogt, his 5th of the year, and he's knocked in all 3 runs.
Well, just having the speed at third base, and that's just enough. And really, Gardner made a pretty strong throw, close play at the plate to get past Murphy at the plate, and as a result, well, able to go to second base. But there's the hustle, and it looked like Murphy tried to catch the ball and block Burns off the plate. Very close at the plate, but it did get by him as he tried to make the swipe tag. Burns around with a hit, or the feet first slide, touching the plate with his hand. Wow.
So we got another pitching change. 3rd pitcher of the inning for the Yankees. We'll be back. David Carpenter comes in. Saw Carpenter on Thursday night in Game 1 of the series. His 21st appearance. Pitched 2/3 of an inning on Thursday. Gave up a hit and a walk. And he's going to get Butler a 1 pitch, a 1 out. So side retired, but another RBI for Vogt. Sac fly, 3-0 A's.
In 8 innings as he did it against the Tigers, and this time though he got a couple of runs, make it 3 runs because he was still pitcher of record when Stephen Vogt drove in the 3rd run of the game. So a whole bunch of run support for Jesse Chavez, who pitched the first 2 innings as if it looked like he might not make it through 5, but he settled down. 8 innings of great pitching by Jesse Chavez, our Honda player of the game.
So 3-0 A's lead, and when it's time for change, think Speedy Oil Change and Auto Service, your oil change, tune-up, and brake experts. So Tyler Clippard comes in, 6 out of 7 in save opportunities this year, and he faces Alex Rodriguez to lead it off. And the first pitch is popped up, and it's going to be into the seats. Sam Fold stays in the game in left field, so Zobrist is out. Rodriguez will be followed by Teixeira and Beltran, so 3 very good, powerful veteran hitters. Fouled straight back, and Clippard ahead in the count 0-2. So now he's got some room to maneuver around with Alex Rodriguez. Rodriguez is 1 for 3, a single, a strikeout, and a ground out. Changeup that was a little up, and Rodriguez fouled it back. Clippard kicks, and another 0-2 pitch to Rodriguez, and he's able to lay off.
And the changeup, he started and then stopped. Perhaps once he recognized the changeup, and typically they're going to be out of the strike zone. And we have seen some hitters lay off the changeup, particularly the Yankees. But it's a good job that time.
And he loops this one into right field, and that's going to be a base hit. So Alex Rodriguez drops a single into right center. He's 2 for 4. So coming up for the Athletics, a trip to Comerica Park. This is your pitching matchups. Graveman and Simon on Tuesday. Gray and Anibal Sanchez on Wednesday. And Jesse Hahn and Shane Green on Thursday. We'll have all those for you here on Comcast Sportsnet California. Alfredo Simon, who's on the bereavement list, is going to come back. Lots of sunshine, and Burns stays with it, and he makes the catch. Big out there to Teixeira.
As I started to mention and said it briefly, that with the off day, Jesse Hahn saw he's going to be pitching Thursday. That would be his normal 5 days. So they're using the off day to get extra time to Scott Kazmir, keeping everybody else as if it were straight through games. So figured he's going to be surfacing. That is Brian McCann.
So Beltran steps in. First pitch, changeup down and away. Beltran is 0 for 3. A couple of ground outs and a pop out. One 0 pitch. Another good take by Beltran, and it's 2-0. Laying off that changeup. Almost laying off it like he knows it's coming, and he probably does.
You know, if hitters, and the thing that Darren Bush, his hitting coach, talks about, guys who throw split finger fastballs, if you can recognize the spin, it's usually going to be out of the strike zone. Same with a changeup. It's a swing and miss type pitch.
And a fastball high, and now it's 3-0. And again, McCann is the on-deck hitter. That's the scary part of this whole thing. He's a very hot hitter. 3-0 pitch, and trying to take it all the way. It's a strike. 0-1 pitch is a strike and a changeup, and it's 3-2.
And you're right, he took that one also thinking it's going to be out of the strike zone, but this one floated in and stayed at the knees.
Rodriguez dances off, and the pitch is inside. He walked him, and now there's 2 on, 1 out for McCann. That's the first walk issued by
Your attention,
the A's
please.
today.
Ladies and gentlemen, for New York, batting for Flores, number 34, Brian McCann.
So McCann to face Clippard. So a tense moment here at the Coliseum with the A's leading 3-0. First pitch to McCann, changeup for a strike. Garrett Jones, powerful left-handed hitter, has come out into the on-deck circle.
Tyler Clippard is not a 2-pitch pitcher. He will throw the curveball in addition to the fastball and changeup. There's Jones, a left-handed hitter. So on the bench, not starting today. No, righty Chavez was pitching. McCann and Jones both available off the bench.
One pitch fouled straight back into the Yankees broadcast booth.
Kendall Graveman, high fastball, and that was Thursday. Brian McCann, then did it Sonny Gray on Friday. Sonny Gray watching Brian McCann almost as if he knew the result, which was going to be another home run.
So Clippard ahead 0-2. McCann's just in one of those stretches where probably feels like he's right on everything he sees. 0-2 pitch, swing and a miss. He struck him out. Changeup got him.
And he saw it up on his own and knew it had to be a pitch that it would swing at. A changeup. It was up, and he waited as long as he could. Stay back, and still
Your
too
attention,
quick.
please.
That's the old slow pitch softball swing there. You figure you're waiting and waiting, and you just don't wait long enough. So great changeup, perfect time, big strikeout.
So 2 on, 2 out for Garrett Jones. Pinch hitting for Murphy. First pitch is outside. Jones has plenty of power. And that one floats in for a strike. So the crowd today, over 25,000. He's trying to win a series for the first time since the first week of May. Chance to take 3 out of 4 from the Yankees. That one's popped up. This could do it. Muncy shading his eyes, and that's the ball game. So the Yankees strand a pair in the night, and the A's take 3 out of 4 from New York. So a good weekend of baseball comes to an end with the A's getting their American League leading 8th shutout of the year. And high fives all around. It took 2 hours and 21 minutes from the Coliseum in front of 25,457. Shutout baseball today from Jesse Hahn and Tyler Clippard. Final score, the Athletics beat the Yankees by a final score of 3-0. Thanks for watching A's Baseball on Comcast Sportsnet California, part of the NBC Sports Group. A's postgame live with Brody Brazil and Pip Roberts starts right now.